This is my review of Ring of Honor's Take No Prisoners 2009 pay-per-view review. Pay-per-view aired last night, first time on pay-per-view. And like I say, overall, it was an okay show from Ring of Honor. It was a tad bit disappointing. I was looking for a little more from it, but still it was an average show from Ring of Honor. At least worth the watch. It was only $10, $15 for it as well, which with the main event and the world title match and maybe one other match, it was at least worth the $10, $15. But this is not one of those I would say is a must-buy and worth going out your way to see, definitely. But if you do check it out, it is worth watching for a few matches. The opening match was Ace Steel versus Colt Cabana, and I think this match right here was one of those matches that had a lot of crowd involvement, and it really didn't come off as well as probably what it should have on pay-per-view. This is probably a match that came off a whole lot better for the crowd in live attendance, but didn't come off that good on pay-per-view, I don't think. Some good comedy from Colt Cabana. Ace Steel's a good trainer. He trained CM Punk, he trained Colt Cabana, but he's never been one of those guys that I've really liked seeing wrestle that much. I think the only time in the Ring of Honor I somewhat liked him was when during the ROH versus CZW feud back in 2006. That was probably the only time I actually somewhat liked seeing him. Like I said, this was not a good match to start the pay-per-view off with. This match would have been better if it was the second or third match, but it suffered severely, not only because it didn't come off as good as what it probably should have, and it's not a match that should have been the opener of the pay-per-view. The second match would have worked a whole lot better, and probably would have even came off even better if it was the opener of the show instead of the second match. Colt Cabana wins this match after Ace Steel taps out of the Billy Goat's Curse submission hold in a 1.5-star match. Then backstage, they go to a backstage promo with Jimmy Jacobs. Very good promo from Jimmy Jacobs, like always. Then the next matchup was an 8-man tag. This was Chris Hero, Incognito, and the American Wolves of Davey Richards and Eddie Edwards versus Jay Briscoe, Kevin Steen, El Generico, and Magno. And like I said, this match would have been very good for an opener of the pay-per-view. Kind of had like the fast-paced X Division style, very fast-paced match. Saw some good stuff with Incognito and Magno. Seen Incognito several times before. This is the first time I've ever even heard of or seen Magno, but from what I saw, he seemed like he was pretty good. The American Wolves of Davey Richards and Eddie Edwards are by far right now probably my favorite tag team in Ring of Honor, if not just my favorite tag team. Huge fan of Davey Richards, and I've pretty much liked Eddie Edwards since he first came into Ring of Honor, even before then from his Pro Wrestling Noah stuff, and they're definitely a good to put them together as a tag team. They work very good with each other. Kevin Steen and El Generico did some good stuff in here. Pretty much everyone did some good stuff within this match. The end of the match comes when Magno and Jay Briscoe hit the Jay Driller to Chris Hero for the victory in a 3-star match. Very solid match. This would have definitely been a very good, entertaining match to have for an opener of a pay-per-view. Next matchup was Jimmy Jacobs versus Necro Butcher in a no DQ match, or should just be called any Necro Butcher match, because that's pretty much what almost every Necro Butcher match is anyway, a no disqualification match, or anything goes pretty much. This was, a fun little brawl. You saw some good brawling outside the ring. Did some good stuff with the chair in the ring. The end of this match came when Necro Butcher hit the Tiger Driver to Jimmy Jacobs to a chair. Probably should have had maybe a little more brawling outside the ring, probably for a little bit. Jimmy Jacobs was bleeding a lot during this match, Necro Butcher as well. Probably the best spot that came from this match was there was a table placed on the barricades to the ring apron. Necro Butcher got Jimmy Jacobs on his shoulders and hit a Death Valley driver through the table from the ring apron. That was a pretty sick spot right there. During the match, Jimmy Jacobs got a screwdriver involved. First I thought it was the railroad spike they always use. Then obviously you could tell it was a screwdriver. Busted Necro Butcher up pretty bad right there. Then Jimmy Jacobs got busted open later on in the match. Pretty good match. Probably could have been one of those brawls that maybe could have went a little longer, but still an enjoyable brawl, 2 3/4 stars. Then after this, Nigel McGuinness comes out of here, gives his pretty much, after he lost the World Championship the night before on the show before at Supercard of Honor 4 to Jerry Lynn. This is pretty much his little thing came out here, pretty much give his little speech because he's going to be gone from Ring of Honor for some time right now. He was on a Ring of Honor show last night in Manassas, Virginia. He did do a little segment there, but he wasn't wrestling. But he will be out of action for a little bit to take a little time off to heal off injuries. Very good stuff here. Good promo from Nigel McGuinness. They did, a lot of the fans, did thank you, Nigel. And even though Nigel wasn't like a full-fledged heel during this whole segment, he didn't do it in a way where he could, turn face as well. So when he comes back, obviously he's going to still be, pretty much a top heel in Ring of Honor. Then after this, Claudio Castagnoli comes out there. Apparently this was going to be a tag team match. The original scheduled next match was going to be Claudio Castagnoli and Nigel McGuinness teaming up to take on Brent Albright and Blue Demon Jr. And then this turned into something kind of weird. Not Necro Butcher, but Claudio Castagnoli came out there, attacked Nigel McGuinness, laid him out. Then Brent Albright came out there, and this was the start of the so-called triple threat match with Brent Albright, Claudio Castagnoli, and Blue Demon Jr. But since this match was originally scheduled to be a tag team match, they kind of worked the triple threat in a tag team type of format because either, Blue Demon Jr. or Brent Albright were always on the ring apron waiting for a tag, or, Claudio Castagnoli was waiting for a tag as well. But it was pretty much kind of worked like a handicap match a little bit. Blue Demon Jr. didn't get in there that much. Did see some good stuff with Claudio Castagnoli versus Brent Albright, but this match was very short in the questionable way. The way they did this match with the kind of tag format for a triple threat match was kind of weird. I don't mind it when they do it for the four-corner survival because that at least works out and it kind of makes sense. But this just didn't make sense, kind of having like tag format for a triple threat match. And that threw me off from the beginning of the match. And like I said, this was a pretty short match as well. Brent Albright wins after hitting the half Nelson suplex to Claudio Castagnoli in a 2-star match. Then the next matchup was Alex Koslov versus Roderick Strong. And this is kind of when the pay-per-view started picking up a little bit. The second hour of this pay-per-view was a whole lot better than the first hour of the pay-per-view, because I would say, other than probably the 8-man tag, that's probably the only thing got very good in the first hour of the show. And you got a decent brawl with Necro Butcher and Jimmy Jacobs, but I thought they could probably pull out a little something better on pay-per-view and maybe give it a little more time. But you got to think, this pay-per-view, they only get 2 hours. Some of the matches, they kind of have to probably make them shorter than what they normally would. Now, the next match, like I said, was Alex Koslov versus Roderick Strong, and this was a good match. I enjoyed this match. Good stuff between them two. Roderick Strong did some good stuff, and in this match comes when Roderick Strong has Alex Koslov in the stronghold, and Alex Koslov taps out in a 2 3/4 star match. Pretty solid match here. Then the next matchup was the ROH World Title match. And this was Erick Stevens versus D'Lo Brown versus Bryan Danielson versus this was Jerry Lynn's first defense of the Ring of Honor Championship, and this was, like I said, a fatal 4-way match for the ROH World Title. Good match here, probably a little too short to be a ROH World Title match on a pay-per-view. Probably, what was it, about 15 minutes, if that. You saw some good stuff from Bryan Danielson and Jerry Lynn in this match. I would have loved to see them, do a little more in this match, or definitely have some singles match down the line. I'm pretty sure by now they probably have had a singles match, but what they did in this match seemed like if they were given like a 20-minute match, singles match, they would do very good against each other. Erick Stevens and Bryan Danielson, like they've always have in the past, they've worked very good with each other in here. D'Lo Brown even got some good stuff in here. This was a solid fatal 4-way match, but it wasn't, an excellent title match. This was kind of like the 8-man tag, just both pretty solid 3-star matches. Jerry Lynn wins this match after hitting the cradle pile driver to Erick Stevens for the win. And the main event of the show was Austin Aries and Nakajima versus KENTA and Tyler Black, and this was definitely a very good main event. This main event and probably the world title match before in the second hour of the show kind of improving a little bit, especially with the main event being a very good match. I would say this made it an average pay-per-view. This is not a pay-per-view, like I said earlier, that I would highly recommend, but definitely it's well worth the watch if you do see it. The main event is good, and the world title match is good, and the 8-man tag is good, but there are some weak stuff within the first hour of this pay-per-view that kind of hurts the quality of this pay-per-view. But like I said, this main event was pretty good. You saw some good stuff with Nakajima and KENTA. Austin Aries and Tyler Black did some good stuff. I would have liked to seen a little more of Tyler Black and Nakajima, but got a good taste of it. I would like to see them two take on each other sometime down the line in a one-on-one match. That would be very good, I would say. Saw some good stuff with KENTA and Austin Aries. Just everyone in this match flowed very well. Good match to main event it. Now, probably the only thing that some people might have a gripe with this match, and I kind of did a little bit, this kind of hurt it a little bit for me, was that it kind of was a little slow-paced at the beginning, but then it built up during the middle of the match and had a good overall ending with this match. The end of the match comes when Austin Aries was going for the Brainbuster on Tyler Black. Tyler Black reverses into God's Last Gift for the win for him and KENTA in a 4-star match. Match I was looking forward to a lot. It was a good match, but it wasn't an excellent match like I was expecting. I did give it 4 stars, so it was a very good match, but I was expecting a tad bit more from it. I was expecting maybe a 4.5, maybe 4 3/4 star match, but it wasn't. I thought it started off a little too slow, which a lot of matches do that, but this match just didn't work out for me. That it started off too slow, did build up in the middle. That was really what helped this match. Was the middle of this match, about the last 10 minutes of this match really helped this match overall, in my opinion. But a very good match to main event a Ring of Honor pay-per-view. Like I said, I wouldn't recommend this pay-per-view. I would probably give this pay-per-view about a 7 out of 10. Because I did enjoy the main event, I did enjoy the ROH World Title match, and the 8-man tag was solid as well. You saw 2 3-star matches. Everything else, other than the 2 3-star matches in the 4-star main event, everything else was pretty weak on this pay-per-view for the most part. Especially the opener. The opener was one of the things that kind of hurt it from the beginning as well. When you have a weak opener of a pay-per-view or an event, DVD or whatnot, kind of hurts you overall a little bit if you don't have a great opener. It probably would have worked out better if you would have restructured this pay-per-view with the second match being the opener, and maybe if you would have wanted to have the Colt, Cabana, and Ace Steel match, have it the second and third match. It would have came off a little better, and maybe given the maybe scrap one match and give the main event a little more time, and it probably would have came off a little more better than what it did. Even though I'm kind of ragging on the main event, it sounds like, but I did enjoy it. Like I said, I give it 4 stars, but probably some people were probably expecting a whole lot more from it. So that's my review of Ring of Honor's Take No Prisoners pay-per-view. Like I said, 7 out of 10. Since it's only $10, $15, if you want to see the main event that bad, then order the pay-per-view. But if you can wait, just wait for the DVD or whatnot. Even though, for the most part, if you get it right now, you get it cheaper than the DVD anyway. So if you like everyone in the main event, then I would recommend it for you. But for the most part, if you want to see like a great Ring of Honor show, get something like Supercard of Honor 3, get Driven, get Man Up, get One of the Death Before Dishonors, get something like that if you want to get a show that will really hook you into Ring of Honor. This is kind of, just an average Ring of Honor show and not one of those, stellar Ring of Honor shows that's, a must-buy, like I said. And, that's it for my review of Ring of Honor's Take No Prisoners 2009. And, that's it. Peace.